was Princess Marjorie Bruce? Princess Marjorie Bruce was born around the 12th of December 1296, daughter of both Robert the Bruce of Scotland and the noblewoman Isabella of Mar.
Marjorie was named after her father's mother, Marjorie, Countess of Carrick. Isabella died at the age of 19, soon after Marjorie's birth in 1296. Marjorie's father, Robert, was Earl of Carrick and made claim to the throne of Scotland. Robert was a fourth great-grandson of King David I, and his grandfather, Robert de Bruce, 5th Lord of Annandale, was one of the claimants to the Scottish throne during the Great Cause. Her occupation is listed as Countess of Monteith, Duchess of Albany and Countess of Angus in Scotland. Upon her father's coronation on the 25th of March 1306, she became Princess of Scots at the age of 9.
Soon after Robert's coronation, he lost the Battle of Methven on the 19th of June 1306, and so sent Marjorie, his sisters and his second wife, Elizabeth de Burgh, north for protection. However, they were captured by William II, Earl of Ross, who handed them over to the English. Edward Longshanks sent them to different places in England to keep them apart. Marjorie was sent to a convent in Wotton, where she spent many years. Some of the other prisoners were kept in cages on public display around England. Edward Longshanks had built a cage specifically for the 10-year-old Marjorie, so that she could be put on display at the Tower of London to cause humiliation. However, he reconsidered and kept her at the convent.
After Edward died in 1307, his son Edward II took the throne and kept Marjorie and the other prisoners for a further 7 more years. She eventually seen freedom in October of 1314, where she was exchanged for an English hostage, Humphrey de Bohun, 4th Earl of Hereford.
She was escorted from the border back into Scotland by Sir Walter Stewart, 6th High Steward of Scotland. Her father, Robert, later gave her hand in marriage to Sir Walter Stewart for his valour at Bannockburn. The two were wed in April of 1315. Part of Princess Marjorie's dowry was the Barony of Bathgate and Bathgate Castle, where her and Sir Walter Stewart lived. Marjorie, in her silken or velvet kirtle, her wimple garnished with golden pearls, in her brilliant and glad youth, became a royal bride. She was said to have a joyous spirit who loved to hunt and would find herself content in the forest, participating in her favourite sport. This is where the annual pageant at the Bathgate procession comes from, and the reenactment of the wedding, which takes place every year and has done since 1844. The dowry of the princess appears in the Royal Charter, dated at Berwick, granted to the steward in the year 1318.
Robert, by the grace of God, King of Scots, be it known to you that I have given to our dear and trusty Walter, High Steward of Scotland, with our daughter Marjorie in free marriage, the Barony of Bathgate.
It was rumoured that it was at Bathgate Castle where they conceived the future King of Scotland, Robert II, giving rise to the Stuart dynasty.
In 1315, a parliament was held at Perth. Marjorie had postponed her right to succession to her uncle Edward, being at the time acknowledged as the rightful heir if her father did not produce any sons. Both King Robert and Edward, his brother, consented that if Edward died and provided no heirs male, then Marjorie should immediately succeed. However, in 1318, Marjorie's uncle Edward died at Dundalk, and later Robert the Bruce had a son called David, who was born on the 5th of March 1324, and would later become King David II of Scotland.
There are many stories about Princess Marjorie's death. However, tradition says barely a year after she was married, she was heavily pregnant in 1316 with the future King Robert II. While hunting in the oak forests of Paisley, it is said that her horse stumbled in marsh or was startled, which caused her to fall off, leading to a fatal injury of her neck vertebrae.
This in turn caused a premature labour. Some stories suggest the monks from the nearby abbey performed a caesarean section to save the child, but were crude in their attempts and caused injury to the newborn's eyes, leading to a lifelong impaired sight. This is where King Robert II gets the name Blairy. On the 2nd of March 1316, Princess Marjorie Bruce died at the age of 19 like her mother, near Paisley at a place called Gallow Hill, and was buried in Paisley Abbey, where the High Stewarts of Scotland were traditionally laid to rest. A cross was erected at the site of her deadly fall and remained there for centuries. A few months later, Walter gifted the Church of Largs for the salvation of the soul of Marjorie to the monastery of Paisley, where her mortal remains lay.
After her death, a parliament was held that same year at Scone to arrange the correct succession rights when the Bruce should die. Her son would go on to become the ancestor to the future Scottish and British monarchs up to the present day.